Michael Mancino.
Here.
Kylie Davis. Jackie Beckwith.
Here.
CJ Heron.
Here.
Rhett Majorana. Timmy Means.
Here.
Brendan Nash.
Here.
Victoria Small.
Here.
Shay Valinsky.
Here.
Aidan Eglin.
Here.
Lynn Hatcher.
Here.
Ember Parker.
Here.
Nico Pappas.
Here.
Anthony Wagner.
Here.
Chuck Pico.
Here.
Alex Engelman.
Here.
Kate Homesteader.
Here.
Angela Hughes Murdoch.
Here.
Jeffrey Law.
Here.
Valera Parker. Claire Quinn.
Here.
Jimmy Clifford.
Here.
Harrison Curtis.
Here.
Vera Ecketer. Michael Mancuso. Dennis Moriarty.
Here.
Christina Noto.
Here.
Anthony Williams.
Here.
26 PCG.
Here.
ACM.
Here.
Active Minds.
Here.
APO.
Here.
Amnesty International.
Here.
Art Alliance.
Here.
Asian Student Alliance.
Here.
AAUW.
Here.
Biosphere.
Here.
BSU.
Here.
Bomb Squad.
Here.
China Culture Club.
Here.
Circolo Italiano.
Here.
Civil War Club.
Here.
Class of 2016.
Here.
Class of 2018.
Here.
Class of 2019.
Here.
College Democrats.
Here.
College Independents.
Here.
College Republicans.
Here.
Colleges Against Cancer.
Here.
Dance Ensemble.
Here.
Debate Club.
Here.
Democracy Matters.
Here.
DCF.
Here.
Drop the Octave. Enactus.
Here.
Entrepreneurs Club.
Here.
Four Scores.
Here.
Free the Slaves.
Here.
Game Club.
Here.
GASA. Gettysburg College Debate Society.
Here.
Gecko.
Here.
German Club.
Here.
Gettysburg College Quiz Bowl.
Here.
Gettysburg Student Musical Theater. Habitat for Humanity.
Here.
Her Campus. International Affairs.
Here.
Jazz Appreciation Society.
Here.
LASA.
Here.
Lego Club.
Here.
Model Air League. Howell Nightingale.
Here.
Vet.
Here.
Refugee Action Committee.
Here.
Rock the Vote. Rotaract.
Here.
SASA.
Here.
Shots in the Dark.
Here.
Ski Snowboard Club.
Here.
Skeptical Chemist.
Here.
Slavic Club.
Here.
Smart Women's Securities.
Here.
Society of Physics Students.
Here.
STEMness.
Here.
Student Alumni.
Here.
Students for Life.
Here.
Swing Club.
Here.
TEDx.
Here.
Upscale.
Here.
Vibe.
Here.
Young Americans for Liberty.
Here.
Zouave.
Here.
Cooking Club.
Here.
Friend or Foe.
Here.
G-Berg TV.
Here.
Gettysburg Film Society.
Here.
International Club. Free Health Club.
Here.
Japan Club. Food Law.
Here.
Young Americans for Freedom. Motion to approve last week.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? That's great. Hi everyone. I hope you had a great Easter weekend. Celebrate Easter, not just a great weekend in general. I just have a couple announcements today. So as you can see, our agenda is looking a little differently. So we're gonna try to make some changes and also have a really nice discussion about Dickinson Senate. So look for that. Also, the survey discussion day is tomorrow. You've probably been getting emails from me and maybe saw the Facebook event today. I'm really, really excited about it. I hope all of you come. Senators, I sent out the link for the Google Doc. There are still spaces open for you guys to sign up, so please do because I don't like seeing empty spaces and it'll just make the day go a lot faster or the event go a lot faster if all of you can sign up for open spots. And also, if any of you want to go around and help me with errands, that would be awesome because I don't want to do it by myself, but I will. But I play really good music in my car, so that maybe that can send it enough. Anyway, moving on. The sexual assault climate survey is open till April 12th. We need a really good response rate, so please, please, please do that. There's an individual link. I know there's been some confusion with all the emails. Use the original one that Dean Ramsey sent you or the one that she sent today. It has that individual link and then it'll link directly to you and you can do that and everything will be fine. Also, Kathy Zarella wanted me to announce to all clubs, reading day and finals are for academics, so no student groups will be allowed to have events on those days. The last day student groups are allowed to schedule is April 29th, which is the last day of classes, but they can't be at the same time as celebration, which is from 4 to 7:30. So please just remember that. And 4th. So next week, our meeting will be in Mara. So remember that we're gonna have a really nice discussion on poster policy, and we would like a lot of student feedback. Again, all our meetings are open to the public. So if you guys want your clubs to come and have an input in this too, this policy has been drafted by SLC. It's being reworked constantly, and we would love your feedback. So please tell your clubs to come to this meeting too. We got Mara, so we have more open space. And that's all I think I have. Rick?
Hi guys. So a lot of you probably got an email from me about an hour and a half ago with petitions for class officers, Senate, and Senate exec. Just so you know, to reiterate from the email, Senate exec positions are due by next week, the Monday, right before this meeting, at 6 p.m. in the Senate office. And then the regular Senate and class officer petitions are due in a week and a half on Thursday, April 7th. So just check my email. If you didn't get it, I can send it to you. If you have any questions, see me after the meeting. It should be pretty straightforward. Before you start campaigning, we're going to have a meeting that most of you haven't been in as previous vice president. Just to go over rules and regulations and stuff. So please don't campaign right away. Also, completely separate, on April 13th, the Student Senate will be holding a town hall type meeting. I mentioned it last week. So it's an event where a bunch of different clubs, not just political clubs, it's going to be in the Cub Ballroom, get up on stage, there's going to be like a panel of sorts, and they'll give their official club endorsement for the United States President, and talk about what election issues specifically are important to their clubs, and why they're giving that endorsement. And then afterwards there'll be a Q&A session. So we're looking for a lot of different clubs from a variety of backgrounds and perspectives to participate in that. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow regarding that, but if you want to get the ball rolling and email me tonight, that's fine. Please participate. It's a great way to bring some unity to the campus and talk about all different issues that one might not have thought of on their own. So please keep an eye out for that, and that's all I have.
Hey guys, we've got 3 clubs coming for budgets tonight: China Culture, College China Crafts, and National Society for Leadership and Success. There's BMC tomorrow. There's still a couple spots left over. Again, if you can't make the time, just email me and we can, wait like 10 or 20 more minutes if the times don't work for you or something like that. We can work it out. And these are from Taylor. We went to Dickinson Senate last week, and we learned a lot from it. Had an awesome time. We have a bunch of stuff that we want to change, and we're going to talk about a lot of it tonight. And then so for the next couple weeks, if there's more that you want to bring to the table, just talk to any of us, and because we're really open to changing a lot. That's it.
If you expect to either be late or not come at all to Senate, please email me at least 1 hour in advance of this meeting. That goes for both club representatives and senators. And just reminders, this is not a time to be doing homework, texting, and chatting, etc. Thanks.
Okay, hi guys. So we have 3 clubs coming tonight. It's Anti-Capitalist Collectives, International Club, and Model Congress. So Model Congress is a new one. The other ones are just coming for your recognition. Also, again, on April 18th, we're gonna have a Senate Club Award banquet kind of thing. We're also thinking of having Senator Awards, so get excited. All the clubs, please keep sending in your event forms. If you don't send them in, I don't see what you're doing, and you won't get an award. And awards is going to be desserts and stuff too, so it'll be a lot of fun.
We have no old business, so we've written new business and gone to discussion. You guys feel free to chime in at any point. Okay. So first we want to identify really what is the problems at Gettysburg College as far as their Senate goes and what we want to see changed. So when we went to Dickinson, we saw we're not competitive with our peer institutions and student government. So how many of you get really tired of all the budget requests that we have? Like, yeah, you can raise your hand. Sometimes it gets a little cumbersome. We really don't feel like we're having that much change in policy. We're just going through the numbers, which are important, I'll admit, but also what we saw at Dickinson is that they don't dedicate their meeting time to that as much. They focus more on what they really want to see change, the policies, we need to be more representative of the student body. So really what the student body wants. As far as this, I think we have a great forum, but we have tons of opinions, but people really aren't sharing them. So we want to see more interaction with people and really how they feel about the campus and what they want to see differently. Because there are tons of things that we want to see change. From something as small as more athletes in the commons to something big as maybe a completely new major or academic requirement. And these policy changes also need to be accessible. So another thing we realized is we don't really have as strong of a connection with the administration as we want to. We have our areas that were really strong and really close and can get our ideas across, but what we saw at Dickinson is they go in every facet of their school. So the academic committees, the PR committees, for example, just all different things that we can see changed in our school, they have access to because they're having weekly meetings with all those committees. So there's really a nice engagement between the faculty, the administration, and the students in all areas. And we want to bridge that gap and make that connection more accessible to us. And I'm sure you guys have been aware, there's also some disengagement in Senate, but also in our campus especially. I mean, I'm sure you've been in clubs, whether it's Greek life, whether it's just a regular club organization, whether it's just around campus and seeing students in your academic classroom, that there's this kind of lack of excitement or motivation except when something really sparks a fire. And I think it's important that we have more engagement just on the regular day-to-day aspects of our lives. That makes our clubs more accessible, easier to get people involved, excited about things, and we want to see that changed as well, and especially here, because Senate is so representative of the student body that if we have engagement here, we can translate that to every other area of campus.
I'll add something quick.
Yeah.
So about the policy change, what we saw Dickinson was they have a physical education requirement, and most of the students don't want that. They don't think it's necessary, or they want to change it. So they spent like 15 to 20 minutes. Everyone debated it. A lot of people in the audience shared their opinions. They thought about potential problems to eliminating the policy. And then I think probably this week they're going to reach a consensus, and then their entire opinion is kind of formally recognized by the school, and they meet in a faculty. They meet, have a meeting with the faculty, and the student senate is represented. So that's just, it's not a huge policy change, but it's something that the students definitely have a say in. So I'm not saying we should be changing, master programs here, but stuff that affects us that isn't so large.
And also going off that too, that one thing, we've seen that before where we have a big discussion and everyone shares their opinions and gets really excited about that, but from what we could tell from Dickinson, that happens all the time there. Where here it's only once in a while. So we want to see that discussion more and more as the time goes on. So as an exec board, we got together and we thought of different solutions that may be applicable to our Senate. So the first one, as you can see, we've been trying to do a lot of amendments this year. As far as our policy goes, our constitution is pretty outdated, so we've been trying to change things to make things more clear, more easy. What we didn't realize is we can overhaul our entire constitution. We can get together a Senate committee where they'll actually draft up a completely new constitution that is more representative of what we are now. Because the last time we did our constitution was probably over 5 to 10 years ago. And a lot of things have changed then. We have a new student body, new needs. So a new constitution would probably be really necessary and really welcome to our campus. And that way we could put more ideas into it that will affect student senate better in the future. Changing our meeting space is also something little that we can do. So when we went to Dickinson, they actually had a room kind of like Science Center 300. Have you guys been in there? Science Center 200, 300. So kind of that setup. And they had name cards for each of the senators. The senators would stand up, actually say their name for ease of the secretary who's taking the minutes or whatnot. And that was a really just nice, clear way to see who was talking, where they were coming from, and in more open space where people can see each other. This room is nice, but it's also kind of outdated. And I think changing our meeting space might make it more open. And also making meetings more fun and pleasant. You guys probably noticed that we played music. Glad you guys came in here. I don't know, it's just a little thing, but sometimes that can get people excited, happy. So just little things like that. We were thinking of having cookie and coffees almost at every meeting. That might be a nice incentive. If you're going to be up late studying, always want coffee. I know I do. people to say no to something that they don't really like. And it would be right on screen, so we could actually see the breakdown of who likes it and who doesn't. Group similar clubs under one senator. We've been saying this for a couple of years. And I think what Dickinson does, so Derek Kiley, his name's Peter, he's the he's the club rep liaison basically. So he manages all the clubs. But what doesn't happen is the clubs don't come to the Senate meetings, or the club representatives don't come to the Senate meetings. Instead, each senator has a group of similar clubs. So let's say CJ, for example, would have all the acapella clubs under him. Ember might have all the political clubs. So it's just something that's a little easier to manage, and then you can get that information out there without actually having the clubs have to come if they don't want to. Obviously, Senate is still a public space and still a public meeting, so if you want to come, you're more than welcome to, but then you wouldn't have to, which might make things a little easier, more open for conversation. And then we thought too, going off this, clubs don't only have to come until they get their paperwork in. So that's a nice way to make sure that we're communicating with clubs, having them have all the information that they need, and then once they get that in, that's kind of like, well, you can stay if you want, or if you have things to do that day. Yeah. We obviously still want you to come, just to let you know, we like having the clubs here. Also, Senate guidebook for senators. So oftentimes new senators come in and they're really not sure how to do Senate, how the Roberts Rules of Order work, things like that. So having a guidebook might make it a little easier to have a reference in case a voting measure comes up and you really aren't sure how to do it. And change the budget request minimum to come to Senate. So Dickinson's budget request, do you remember how much it was? 7,500.
Stiff.
Yeah. It's a little different, but they had a minimum budget request of 7,500 to actually present in front of Senate. Anything else could be just approved by their treasurer. We would make it a little less for sure, because we don't have as big of a budget. We'd want to see it more visible, but still, then that would eliminate a lot of the budget requests that come up that are only like $300 or $400 that we could easily make.
So the way their budget works is kind of, they oversee their version of CAB, they oversee club sports, which we don't fund here. So their overall budget is huge. It's like $750,000, something like that. It's yeah, it's a lot of money. So it doesn't exactly correlate, but the idea behind it is that, like what Taylor was saying, we don't need like $300 or $400 to come up because we have something in our constitution saying, well, it's $500 per semester, as many of you know, and then once you go over that, even if it's $100, you still have to come up and present. So something like the compromise, the correlation that we're looking for is maybe to have it like anything over 500 come, but if it's not that semester thing, so people like tonight we had I think 3 requests all under $500. So to avoid things like that.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about all these numbers later,
Yeah.
nothing's on here right now.
So basically, these are just some of the solutions that we came up with as an exec, but obviously we want your input too. You're all a part of Senate, you kind of know how it runs and how it works, and you want to see it change for the better as well. So we came up with a couple of discussion questions, just basically relating back to the potential problems that go with changing this so drastically to fit more of Dickinson's role. So also if they don't do Dickinson is they don't really use Robert's Rules of Order. They do it when they vote, but you know how I use the gavel to like read in the minutes, everything like that. They don't do that. So would that make Senate more disorganized? Yeah.
Personally speaking, I don't think it would make it more disorganized. I don't think it would be crowded up here. To be honest, I mean, speaking as a senior senator and someone who's come in the past and stuff, it's sort of the pedantic nature of student senate when we're just debating, do we give this club $50 for cookies or we give $49 for the lemonade? It's kind of silly, so I think Robert's Rules of Order would be 10 times better.
Yeah.
I don't think getting rid of Robert's Rules of Order is really no problem, but I don't think Robert's Rules of Order are the problem in Senate. I think as like Timmy was saying, I think a lot of the times we get kind of bogged down in a lot of the minutia, and I don't think that's something Robert's Rules of Order is causing.
Okay.
So I don't see a particular need to or reason not to And I think a lot of these also are concerned with sort of upping our prestige and making us more presence on campus. I think making us more casual is sort of a step backwards in that idea. I feel like if we're trying to make Student Senate a bigger deal, if that's, I mean, maybe I'm reading this completely wrong, then I feel like continuing with the idea of structure and not making it casual would be better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that I don't know that we have this just might be me, but banging up the gavel isn't exactly like, oh, calm down, be quiet, everyone pay attention, because we just kind of naturally do that. I don't think that a heavy use of Robert's rules is really happening. I think that we usually as kind of like a light structure to it, and it keeps us from punching each other and killing each other. But well, hopefully other stuff keeps us from each other. But I don't think that we have a super rigid set of rules right now, and I think that's nice. However, I do think that if we start getting more policy changes in wanting to be kind of a more official, want to be taken a little more seriously than we are on campus, I think we should up the use of Robert's rules.
I have two things. One, like as a first-year senator, I was really intimidated to come here and participate, and I don't know if that was because of Robert's Rules of Order or just because it was like a new environment, but I definitely can see where it can be intimidating, and so students that are interested in participating in conversation or are thinking about coming to a meeting, I think often don't because they're intimidated by it. And then the other thing is, if we're thinking about getting rid of it, I don't know how the Constitution works, but would it potentially be possible to do like a trial and do like a few meetings without it to see how that would be, how it would work?
Definitely. That's something we thought of too, having some trial meetings where we try out the different changes and see what happens. Harrison?
Another thing that could accomplish the same objective is distinguishing certain times where, okay, this is debate time, this is where we're able to propose amendments, this is where we're able to do this. Instead of, being so, I guess, nitpicky with, okay, you can't talk because this is a motion to do something else, right? I think distinguishing or allotting time for specific purposes could accomplish the same thing without having to, have a proper debate.
Okay.
So I actually really like Robert's Rules of Order. It makes sense with me. And also like in APO, like we use Robert's Rules of Order, like we have a meeting structure in our constitution that says that like once you close one section, then we have to vote to reopen it and everything. But like we still giggle and eat food and sing songs and like make fun of each other, and it's like still like that nice really casual thing, but we still have Robert's Rule evading the whole thing to make sure that we have some structure for our meetings while we can still laugh and giggle and go away.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what to do with either side, but I think how we have it now, as far as being intimidating, we do ask if anyone has any ideas or questions during the meeting. So, if that's too structured, that you have an opportunity to raise your hand and speak when budget matters or something else, I don't know what the alternative to that would be to be more relaxed. So I'm not exactly sure if we do have a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the way we have it now is it actually works well because it is pretty loose in terms of Robert's Rules of Order. And the word casual is being, like Taylor said, and it's being thrown around a little bit. And that's not really what we're looking for. It's more just like the formalities of like motion and stuff like that, I guess. But I think we're so loose on it, it doesn't really matter. I think in terms of seeming legitimate in these policy proposals and things like that, having name tags, which we plan on having next week for all the senators, having people stand up and say their name before they speak, just that structure will help us look a little more legitimate, a little more organized. And then if somebody's just sitting in, they can know who's speaking. And you can see the name tags as well. And all the senators will always be in the front two rows. So I mean, they'll just be like things that are a little more tightened up with a couple of changes we're probably going to make in the next couple of weeks. So in regards to Robert's Rules, I think we're okay.
I'm going to move on to the next question, just in the interest of time for everyone. So I'm sorry, if you have more concerns, please feel free to tell me. So the second question is a little more deep. Does removing club representatives from meetings make it more difficult to communicate? And on that note, will it cause us to have a loss of diversity and a wide range of student voices? So what do you guys think about that, Taylor?
I think if you end up having a senator to
to like act on behalf of the different like groups of clubs as suggested, it's fine. And also, it seems like it'll probably be good for clubs because a lot of them, there are like a good portion that don't want to be here, so the ones that like do want to be here will continue to come to voice their opinions.
Check.
Yeah, I agree. I think giving club representatives the option to come is more better than having them come and not really wanting to be here and not going to contribute to discussion anyway. So I feel like having one senator represent a group of clubs makes sense.
Alex?
I'll actually make a point to the opposite. I think that having clubs be here might be a good thing. At least having more people be here might be a good thing. Students might, or club reps might just not want to come, and that's understandable. But I think one thing that's good that can come from it is I think just sort of the wide range of student voices in that something might come up in a meeting that you might be very passionate about, but might not care about everything else we do, so you might not just be there that week and not have gotten to participate in the discussion. And I think that if we do make it non-mandatory, we will see less discussion. I think just less people being here to react to things we bring up might lessen the conversation.
Yeah, and after that, I think a lot of people would come, which I would think we should find other ways to incentivize other people on campus, not just local liaisons, but like people that might just be on campus that want to become involved in something that is a bigger discussion, incentivize them as well. But I do see the benefit in that I know a lot of clubs do become unrecognized just because there aren't able to make meetings. So, yeah, recommend.
I feel like club representatives don't really have a voice anyway. So if we're like attached to a senator who already does have a voice, we will be able to get that voice. Like,
I was just gonna say, like, also I would assume that the senator who's representing these groups is going to have some sort of relationship with the group. So say like I was the representative for like multiple groups, right? Like I'm not just getting somebody who's assigned, like I would probably be a member of like Gloucester or BSU or DUS or something like that. So I would assume that like, in addition to the senator having the power to move and speak up for these clubs, when maybe they might not be able to come, like in addition, like they're gonna have that relationship where they're gonna speak up. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea on two fronts. One, club members can keep senators accountable. So, for instance, say the senator who's supposed to be in charge of the political clubs on campus, one political group, feels that that senator isn't voicing their opinions or their wants and needs. Instead, they can go to the exec and say, "Hey, Senator so and so isn't doing such a hot job. You guys, have a meeting with the state chair and make sure they does a better job." And then also, personally speaking, I know really from when I was a club representative, I never went and talked with other political clubs or other clubs on campus about what was said in Senate. So having a senator there who's able to facilitate discussion between different clubs of the same organization, I think that could create better discussion. Rather than just come here for 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, listen, the subject matter you're interested in, and then ignore the rest of the meeting, because that's what most club representatives do, to be perfectly honest. We actually talk about what was said and come up with opinions on certain voice or through facilitating conversations about something.
Not necessarily pushing back on that. I think though we really need to try to get attendance up in Senate. Raise your hand if you are not associated with kind of a club, or you don't have to be here tonight. If you're just a member of the campus community. There you go. I think that if anything, we should be promoting more attendance at Senate. Because that would promote more engagement from the campus community if we're looking to be more engaged. And we want us to kind of spread our reach a little bit. I don't know that removing club representatives would nullify that, but I think it's not a step in that direction. So I think we should not necessarily say you don't have to come. We should, like someone said before, incentivize it and maybe give club reps a little more say in what happens in Senate and how to make voting rights. But I think if anything, like I said before, we should try to be giving people to come to Senate instead of saying you don't have to.
I think so. If we're going to do this with the club representatives and just have more just the Senate, I think that we can go a long way. Look at us, we're a predominantly white group of people here on as the Senate, and that's true. So how can we recruit people to run for Senate that come from a wide range of different backgrounds, socioeconomic, race,
I think the thematic organization of groups is a really good idea, but I don't think that we should kind of do an either or. Like, why can't we do, everyone should still come regardless, but then have like an outside of Senate thematic meeting, so like all the political groups meet all at one time and have a separate discussion in addition to still coming to Senate. Because if we want to raise our, not only our recognition on campus, but also our level of excellence, then having more meetings, while I understand it's more of a time commitment, would only improve campus morale. And like, I'm a member of a lot of political groups, but as Timmy was saying before, we don't talk much, and we really should. And that's kind of what, like, I know the sustainability movement is kind of, that's what we're trying to do this semester, and it's really benefiting everybody because it's adding some more communication. So I think we should do that level on top of everyone still coming.
I'll take like 3 more points to that.
I completely agree with Jackie. I think that we should get a lot of campus and the clubs more engaged, and I do think that's important. But I think one thing we could add to it is sort of the thematic groupings of clubs and sort of assigning them, maybe, whether it be not assigning as Annalisa said, but pairing with a senator, sort of give them a point person into Senate. Because I know, like, I came as a club rep last year, and I came, and I wasn't really sure how everything worked or what was really going on. I knew that I was allowed to stand up and speak, you know, if I wanted to, but I didn't really know how to actually get my voice in to the votes or anything like that. So I think having all the clubs be given a point person in Senate, as an actual senator, would probably be really beneficial for all the clubs. Weekly meetings for different groups might be decided by each group, but I do think that's something we should really add.
So that should be a facilitator, I think, for groups.
I think one possible solution for this is that we redefine what a club rep is. I think each group of clubs, I think we're all reaching consensus that we kind of want to keep clubs together. That's a great idea. What we have is each club then gets one vote, and they decide their own, not senator, but club rep. So one club rep per group of club. And they basically do the same thing as a senator. They get, you know, voice and senate, they get to vote. The only difference would be they wouldn't be on a committee. Instead, their external responsibility outside of coming to Senate meetings would be to meet with their constituents with their clubs. So then we fixed that relations problem where, you know, we can have, they're coming from within, you know, each group of club would, in theory, put forward a slate of people that they want to have represent the club, and they can vote from within. It's not just somebody from Senate being pushed upon the club.
I also think that they're going to be looking more into doing more activism on campus, and less so what requests during the meeting, and make the advantageous for us to have more student voices here. So not necessarily doing one or the other as we discussed, but maybe finding some sort of common ground between both.
That's a really interesting idea. I think the only grouping that I would see that going wrong is like a grouping of political clubs. As Lizzie shakes her head. Of course not. So while it sounds good for everything else, I don't know. Like Annalisa said, and I agree, like there should be some sort of affiliation. I think meeting with that group of clubs every week kind of gives you that affiliation. So whether it be a separate person or not, I kind of like another positioning. Maybe we're kind of floating that around too, like adding a senator per year, or that could be another idea. But that affiliation would maybe come with weekly meeting.
So we're going to move on to the final question, and we'll do this about the 5 minutes or so, and then we'll get on to the rest of like the budget requests, other commissions, stuff like that. Okay. So what else do you want from a student senate? This is a really hard question, but we want your input as well.
I know that as a first year, I didn't get a chance to run for anything, so no senator, no class officer, or anything. And it's not because I didn't want to, like I was involved in student government in my high school, but it's because I like wasn't aware. There was so much going on, so maybe if Senate could have, and I don't know if it's a Senate problem or like, you know, because you're first year, because you have so many things going on, but if there was more outreach to first years, because in order to be on Senate, you have to be at least a senator or class officer, or, you know what I mean? So there's like this pathway and build up to be a senator exec person, which I think a lot of us are interested in, but it's sort of something that you have to know from like your first or second year. And then I also wish that students didn't have more power, kind of like the Dickinson has, so they have to oversee things more, because I think this group has like a very large potential to do a lot of things, but
but I know during my orientation, during one of our orientation meetings, we got the option to be given petitions to run for things, so I got told that right off the bat. So it might just be a discrepancy between RAs, RCs, things like that. Luke, you had a band, you're an RA, so
Yeah.
you might be better talking what I'm talking about, but I think that's a good thing to work on.
Yeah, to add to that point, like Alex said, I'm an RA. I don't remember anything from training. Someone, feel free to correct me. But of anyone saying, well, this is student senate, this is what we do here on campus, and this is how you can get involved. And I think doing something like that, get first years involved, they don't have to run, they don't have to run for a position, but at least getting them to either come to meetings, get interested, I think it's a positive thing. And I think if we work with Res Life, and I know we've got people here on Senate, and myself as well, that would be more than happy to do that. I think if we get the first years on right off the bat, that'd be really positive for the next 4 years after.
We did speak with the incoming first years very early in the fall. We spoke. I think they came in quads, and we spoke to almost all of them, unless they missed it. So we did that for this year, and I expect we'll continue that in the future.
I think that we need to pull the election place out of the desk this evening and put it on the front door somewhere. It's ridiculous. If you don't vote for anything in your first year, why are you going to try to find out how to vote and still have your sausage in it? The same people voting for Governor.
We're working on that stuff. But
Just since like Michael mentioned, a sec. So I'm gonna be talking with IT to like do a completely different system for this year. So hopefully we can get that. Yep. So you'll all hear about that. So that's the plan. Hopefully they can do it. If not, we'll work with the new exec for the fall.
I mean, additionally, this could be like a multi-step approach to something where we could have like, I mean, we're a group with almost every single club on campus. I mean, there's institutions like the IGLC that all have like meetings and things, and so we could have like a student-centered calendar. And I know we already have a calendar on the website, but to just move into the student-centered calendar where club reps say, hey, Kylie, we have this thing coming up on this week, right? And so we're able to have, meetings from, BSU, from MAO, from, all these different groups, all consolidated in one space. So a student can just go on to the student center, like, annex of the website and just see, okay, all right, this is what's happening, this is what's happening.
A little to that point, on the website, every club has a page, and if they tell me when you're meeting, I put it up there. So anything you guys want to change, I can change it on the website now.
good.
I think something I really enjoyed was getting speakers, maybe capped it at 5 or 10 minutes, like when Jay and Mark and I know that's more extensive. But when the students came out making a smoke free campus, that was really interesting. Like make flyers around campus saying students can talk about making campus smoke free. The students said 7.268 opinion. So I guess maybe getting like a 5 or 10 minute like representative from someone at the school who just like states like a controversial issue or something you want to talk about in the Senate. Like get a senator to put speakers around campus with both flyers.
A couple points on like actual like club quizzes in Senate. First of all, like a lot of times we don't like senators are called on before like club reps are. Like I just had my hand up for probably like 2 minutes intermittently and it's just got called on once. Like I know like again like I understand like senators are here to be like senators and everything, but like it kind of feels like you can actually get to speak to some degree. Also like I don't really feel like there's any awareness that as a club rep that we're actually allowed to like bring things before Senate and like present anything and like how to actually like access that whatsoever. Like I'm not aware of that certainly. Maybe other people are because like I'm a first year or whatever, but like there's not really like an awareness on like how to actually like gain a voice within Senate. And I think part of that like kind of contributes to this sort of idea that like Senate is sort of useless and separated from the rest of the campus because we don't really know how to get involved. So I think to some degree like just sort of expanding it beyond just like speaking to us once during orientation, because I don't know about you guys, but like the majority of people at my freshman orientation, because I am a first year, I just went through that like a couple months ago. The majority of us were pretty much just drunk, just kind of there, or just like too tired to actually absorb anything because we've been drilled for like several days on like everything we need to know about living here. So honestly, I think that there needs to be like an ongoing effort throughout our academic careers to actually get us involved in Senate, as opposed to just one ditch effort, like at getting us involved, which isn't effective.
To me,
maybe that's where the, you know, have to extend power, because if Senate is like, you know, Senate did this, and this, and then you isn't it, and people say, wow, like they're doing this, like I can do that too, so like, it extend more power, and then also having my club rep, because maybe there is a meeting about some free campus and like representative for college Democrats that wants to come, but they can't, so they say, they email the person who they're friends with, or close with, and they say, hey, like, can you bring up this, or really feeling about this, and you're gonna say, so I think it's all interconnected.
Okay. I mean, I had my hand up for like 20 minutes intermittently. I didn't get called on. I'm a senator. I don't think it's a personal thing that club representatives are viewed as less than senators. I don't think that's the case at all. I think we all, especially listen for your feedback, because we know that you guys have diverse voices, and I think that executives really reaching out now and trying to institute that, that's what this is. So I think that they are making that change and they are trying to make that difference.
Sorry, they're really loud answers. Overwhelmed. Greg.
So, going on to the unrelated thing, if you see so.
Let's go to the bathroom.
This idea of like doing instead of more power talking policy, I think one of the things I know I talked to you about this, for us to make policy like we need information, because I was making a list of something the other day, and you know what list I'm talking about, and I made category A and category B, and I was forced to make an I don't know category because I could not find the information on the ether.edu for college website, and like, it's just like, and like there's like the sphere like we talk about things, and then there's the sphere of student senate, and like never the thing shall meet. It's like, well, we can't do anything unless we know things that are going on, so we can like have a say in them. It's a lot of things that come out when you want them to, but there's not a lot of good flow between talking and student senate.
Right, let's get 2 more breaks. So that's fine.
So it sort of ties into that, and also the website thing. Like, yes, maybe each club has their own website, and this is, you know, not anyone here's fault probably, but like if you go on our website and you like use the search box to try to find a club or an event, you'll get like an event page from like 15 years ago and not be able to find like when the club's next meeting is. So like I actually didn't know that each club had their own page, but even if you like search for that club, that page is not what comes up. So I think that might be like a greater Gettysburg College website issue that I don't know if we can really fix. But I think that does make it harder to like find and access information about different clubs.
All the club pages are under clubs and organizations. If there's any other pages, they're pages from way in the past, and I don't even have access to some of them, so we have had that problem, unfortunately. But if you just go to regular clubs and organizations, everything should be right there, and if it's not, please let me know and I can add it or change it, whatever needed. So hopefully that makes it better.
I think we want to make Senate meetings more purposeful and less about the budget. I think we should give more power to the BMC, give them at least a little more discretion, or increase the minimum from 500 to even 1,000. Because we spend a lot of time talking about let's like cut the budget down to $2 million. Like, we talk all about all these pointless things that the BMC can do themselves, and then we should really trust our treasurer, the BMC, to handle all the smaller budgets, and anything above 1,000, the bigger ones. That's the only time we should actually be involved.
Yeah, so so a lot of you have said things, and where we've come up with like kind of solutions to a lot of really good points you've all raised. And I just want to just briefly like go through that. So basically, what we want is like honestly like more power, more influence over policy. We want to be taken more seriously. We want spheres to connect, and more of a dialogue between the administration and us as students, especially student leaders and representatives. So what we're hoping will happen is agreed, like we could definitely use more PR, especially like after the first week of freshman year, I agree. So with PR, not just posting on our pages, but posting on the class pages and things like that, more posters, things like that. And then when they come, we'll have a more legitimate space, hopefully in Mara or Science Center, whatever it may be, that can fit more people perhaps, where the people there are taking it more seriously rather than just club reps who don't want to be here. So there might be that option. You know, there are different ideas we've had where club reps are mandated to come once a month. Things like that where there could be some sort of compromise to to get the weekly meeting to be a serious space that's still fun and also productive, which is, like people are saying the BNC, could have more power. We were discussing that earlier. So we want to establish a serious weekly meeting with people who want to be here, and we feel like establishing that will help the administration take us more seriously, and we'll have a little more influence. And hopefully more students can sit in on committees that are predominantly just made up of administrators. And I think that's what we look for as our students at those kind of committees. They don't really know that very much. So great points.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. This was an amazing conversation. I really appreciate it. And as you think of more ideas, please email us because we're open to it and we want to write all this down and make sure we have everything. So going forward, we're taking everything into consideration, not just this one meeting. So with that, we're going to move on to budget requests. So I'll let Nick take that away and we'll start off with college gems.
Sorry, guys. Nope. Alright, hold on, give me 1 second, I forgot to email you. Okay, here we go. I got it. Hope so. There you go.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm with the College Democrats. I was here last week. I know you're all really tired of me. So we were going to plan to rent a van from the college, and when we went to make those plans, the college informed us there aren't any vans for the weekend we need, and we have to rent from an outside source. So instead of $45 a day, it's $105 a day. So we're asking, it says $315, that's the total cost. We already have $145, so we're just asking for $180 more to make up the difference. And I looked into some outside sources, and they're all more expensive, and none of the people going have our own cars, so we couldn't transport ourselves. Yeah, that's the only thing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
China Culture Club.
We're going to request a budget for 2 events, and the first one is our annual club event, which is the trip to DC for the Cherry Blossom Festival, and we are targeting about 29 people, and we've already achieved 29 people already. So we need to request for a minibus from transportation, and we also need a driver for the bus because for the minibus we can actually have like student drivers for that. So the total cost would be $252 for this event, and so yeah, it will be on April 2nd. It's actually on Sunday, April 3rd, and so the other event is for our final club celebration event, and it will also be a game night because it's towards the end of the semester, and we want to create an opportunity for every people, basically every students, to have a chance to just come together and have fun time because we will have Chinese board game, card game, and such as mahjong, things like that. And we will also order food for this event. That's why we need like $150, and we will also have we'll also buy small gifts for the active members, and we'll also talk about the events that we've done new ideas and talk something about the events we will do in the future, so people can have explanation about what we're going to do next. Yes, it happened today.
We recommend a full amount.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Leadership and success.
First of all, let me apologize. I realize how much you guys hate budgets, so I'll try and make it short. My name is Lauren Doherty. I'm a representative from the National Society of Leadership and Success. This is my first time requesting funds. It's because we are not yet Senate recognized. We're working on it. Apparently there's some misunderstanding where we weren't believed to be open to everyone on campus. And in fact we are, so we're working on that. But our event is we're working with the Springfest Planning Committee to organize an undie run, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You get together in your underwear and you go for a run. And this event is to kick off Springfest on Thursday, April 21st at 5 p.m. So it will be open to all students, and it has already been approved by JMR, and it will be a charity fundraiser that benefits Patriots Place, Adams County Food Bank, and breast cancer research. So we're going to require people to give a $5 minimum donation. We're thinking that'll get a lot of people to participate. It's a pretty small donation. And everyone gets a bracelet for participating. So what we're asking the Senate for is funds totaling $360 for 3 full-time DPS officers and 2 student patrol officers. And we pretty much just need these officers to help mitigate the risk and by preventing runners from going off campus where they can come in contact with Gettysburg police. We don't want any sketchy stuff going on there. But if runners stay on campus, everything's all good. And this event's been really successful at other schools, so there's no reason to believe why it wouldn't be successful here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just have a question. How long would the run be, and is it just like underwear, or is it like underwear and bras for girls?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So the idea is you can wear yes, you have to have top and bottoms, like bras and underwear for girls, not just like underwear you can't go topless. But we have a liability waiver, we have like a risk management thing, kind of have it all set out. But also it's not just for people who are going to do it in their underwear, you can also just do it in like regular clothes, so we don't want to exclude people from the event. And we mapped it out, it's about a little over a mile, it's a mile, 1.2 I think. And it's right around campus. We even have a map if you want to see where we're trying to put DPS officers, but we think it's going to be pretty successful.
Any other discussion?
Motion to adopt the full amount.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Okay. So now we have clubs coming for recognition, so model Congress.
Hi, so we're starting Model Congress, and it's exactly what it sounds like. If you know Model UN, we use a lot of the same party program stuff, just U.S. Congress, and well, yeah, please approve us.
When will you guys be meeting?
We haven't decided yet. But we were thinking Mondays, but we'd be open to like opening a poll to everyone who's interested in joining at the same time works best.
Motion to recognize. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. So now for your recognition, Gettysburg Annapolis Collective.
Basically, we are the radical leftist political presence on campus. So we we represent the socialist, communist, and the ambiguous, we don't like capitalism side of the campus. We facilitate many discussions that primarily occur in GLOT 104, shameless plug, with groups such as YAC in the past, and other groups as well. We mostly just facilitate discussion and education about different economic systems and how those work on a political level. So yeah, we meet Tuesdays, 6 p.m. in GLOT 104. Any questions? Yes.
In the event that your club succeeds and capitalism is defeated, what will happen to your
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? International clubs.
I'm representing International Club, and first thing I want to let you guys know is I have heard a lot of comments for our club that our club is only for international students. In fact, it's open for everyone. We are here to bring different culture, religion, social life, like wide variety of life together. So everyone is welcome. We meet every Thursday, 6 to 7 at International House. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Alright, so moving on to the committee reports. Academic affairs?
No report.
BNC? Career liaison? Clap?
Okay guys, so we're actually meeting with Danielle Phillips on Thursday. If our committee wants to stay after if they want to come, or if anyone else wants to come, just come talk to Christina now.
Okay. IT?
No report.
PR? No report. Senate policy? It's not here. Student safety? Also not here. And sustainability?
Yes, so super quickly, first of all, thank you to everyone who came out to our meeting last week. It was awesome. We're starting to kind of bring all of the sustainability groups together on campus, so kind of what we were talking about earlier with Dickinson. And we have a plan. So upcoming this Wednesday, we want as much help as we can get. We're going to create an infomercial video, if you will, 3 to 4 minutes, about how to be sustainable on Gettysburg's campus. And we're going to explain what single-stream recycling is, the fact that you can actually buy reusable burger containers at bullet holes so you can wash it and come back. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff. We're going to film on Wednesday, meeting at 5 p.m. So if you'd like to be a YouTube star, please come on out. Or email me for more information because we'll be doing lots of filming. So.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Any club reports or announcements?
So I talked about this last week, but I warned you I would be telling you a lot about it, so here I am again. So Friday's April 1st, yay! So on Sunday, April 17th, that's the day after we had Green Day, but the day before the Senate Club recognition celebration. If you just fit that into your schedule, on the 17th, APO and Sigma Chi are co-sponsoring the Anything is Possible 5K, the Race for Paul, which is a 5K honor cross-country course for a guy named Paul Detweiler who died before his junior year of brain cancer, and all proceeds that we raise will go to the Paul Detweiler Memorial Scholarship Fund, which goes for first year, who best exceeds the values that he's shown in life, and yeah.
So here's remember the past 2 semesters, GCF has done an event we call Send for a Slice. And so what happens is you guys text to this number or to an email address a question about Christianity, and then we kind of answer the question and we bring you a piece of pizza. And tomorrow's really perfect because it's the last day of meal plan, so we don't have any meals left. From 6 to 11, you can just text us a question and you'll get a piece of
Heather.
Ariane, so this Saturday, sorry. This Saturday at 8 p.m. in the ballroom, tickets and shirts are on sale all this week. All funds go to Arch, so you can guys know.
And just a reminder, server discussion night is tomorrow from any time between 5 and 8, and you'll be randomly seated in specialty dining. Also, going off Frank's point earlier, the panel will be April 13th, so if clubs are interested in that kind of panel or environment, please email Frank. Yeah, and he'll get you set up or come to him. It's fun. And we're meeting in Mara next week. Is that right?
Children.
Favorite.